Hey, I'm Sam from Barn2, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a searchable resource library for your business, organization, or charity using our Document Library Pro plugin. If you watched our latest video where I interviewed 5 different organizations that are actually using this plugin, like this cancer support nonprofit and a children's mental health program, I'll link to it up here in the cards if you haven't seen it yet, then this is the video that shows you how to build what they built. Document Library Pro is used heavily by exactly the kinds of organizations I just mentioned. Small teams, limited budgets, doing important work, and needing their website to actually help people find things. I'll walk you through everything from installing the plugin to displaying your library of resources on your website, and I'll even show you how to restrict access to documents using the advanced plan of the plugin. There's a link in the description below this video to try a free admin demo of the plugin if you want to follow along before purchasing. Or if you're a nonprofit, you can apply for a 15% discount by filling out a form on our website. That's also linked below. Okay, with all that out the way, let's get started. The plugin actually comes in 2 versions, Essentials and Advanced. Essentials covers everything you need for a standard resource library, and Advanced adds bulk import options, version control, and access protection for members-only content. Being a premium plugin, if you want to try it on your own website, you will need to purchase it, but it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. After purchasing, you'll get the plugin zip file and license key via email. In WordPress, you can go to Plugins, click on Add New Plugin, then Upload, and drag and drop the zip file into that little box there. Click Install, and then Activate. In the first step in the setup wizard, you can add your license key and finally activate the plugin for your site. If you can't find the setup wizard or it didn't show up for you, then just go to Documents, which has been added by the plugin, and click on Settings. Once you're on the settings page, you can click on the setup wizard up here in the top, and I'll go through it with you now. Our license key is active, so we'll click on Next. Now we can choose a layout. And there are 2 main options. There's a table layout and a grid layout. And I'll show you what each one looks like now. A grid layout looks something like this, where you have tiles, images, and occasionally some text or buttons for each document. I think it looks nice, but it doesn't handle a lot of documents very well as it makes searching and filtering a little bit more difficult. It's better for scrolling. The other option is a table layout, which looks a little something like this. It can be simple or complex. In this case, there's only a title, a file type, and a link to that file. But you can add a lot more columns, and I'll show you how to do that soon. So in that case, I'm going to choose my table layout first, but we might switch to grid later just to see how it looks as well. This is the folders option. If you enable it, it'll look something like this. Once you have all of your categories, of course. I'm going to disable folders for now so we have a nice clean table without any folders getting in the way. We can also enable document preview, which might be useful for your users. Now that we're configuring our table, here we have a list of all the columns that will appear. At the moment, I have title, summary, file type, file size, downloads, version, and link. That's quite a lot, so maybe I'll simplify this a little bit. I'm going to remove the file size and the version. I'd like to add an image in as well as the first column. So we'll have the image followed by the title, a little summary, file type. I'm going to remove this downloads and then leave the link in there so people can access it. We can also allow for multi-downloads. And if you want to enable lazy load, that might be a good idea to save loading time, but there are a few drawbacks to enabling this, so only do it if it's absolutely necessary. Now we have document filters, and if you don't see any filters here, just use the drop-down and select anything, like I've selected categories and tags. I can also choose file type as a filter and add that as well. This will help your users to be able to find the documents they're looking for more quickly. And then click on Next. So now our setup is complete. I want to mention quickly how categories work. So let's go to our settings page. And from here, we can access the categories and tags over on the left. Now, categories are hierarchical, and they're basically like the folder structure on your computer. You can add as many categories as you like and subcategories beneath them. In my case, here's a good example we have the policies category, and underneath that, we have the recruitment subcategory. You can add new categories over on the left here, and I recommend doing this before you even upload your first document. So you'll have a structure that you could build your library out with. Otherwise, things get to be a little bit messy. Tags, on the other hand, are slightly different. They're more of a flat label that could apply to multiple different categories, something like a publication date, for example. Here I have a bunch of tags already created for my library, and you will have to consider what your users are looking for when you want to create new tags. But you can always add more later and apply them to various documents as needed. So with our categories and tags sorted, let's start adding some documents. Now there are technically 5 different ways that you can add documents, but I'll start with the first 2 that come with the Essentials plan. For starters, you can just click on Add New over here on the left, and you're actually going to be creating or linking to the document on this page here. So you'll create a document title, and then you can either add a file from a file upload or URL, or you can actually write the document content, copy and paste it, or anything into this page here. This is going to create a kind of WordPress post that we call a document, and it's going to show up on your library as a page that people can access. Further down, you can see how things like access control and the excerpt, slug, author, and other custom fields can be filled out. And over on the right here, we have categories. So this could be in our all documents category. And then there are also tags. If you want to see tags that are already being used, you can click on something like this. And you can also choose a file type if applicable. Finally, you can set a featured image. If your library is going to have images in it, I recommend doing that. And then you can finally click on Publish, and that will actually add your document into your library straight away. I've got plenty of sample documents already, so I'm just going to move this to the bin. The second way to add documents is to do it through your media library. If you've already added files to your website and they exist in your media library, you can actually use the bulk actions by first clicking on this button here to switch to a list view, and then you can select as many items as you want. Use the bulk actions to add to document library, and then click on apply. Now be careful when you do this because this will add anything you've selected, including images or other files that you might not actually want to add to your document library. So carefully go through and choose which ones you actually want to use, and then click on the apply button. There may be 1 or 2 extra steps when you do this, where you'll have to go in and modify the document's categories and tags, but thankfully for that, you can also use bulk actions to edit, click on apply, and you can update document categories and tags in bulk like this. That should save you a little bit of time. Now, if you have the advanced plan like I do here, there will also be an import option on the left. You can click on that and you can drag and drop files straight from your computer and upload them into your library straight away. Again, they will require some editing for categories and tags. And the fourth option is actually a CSV upload. You can click on Upload CSV. And before that, I would suggest clicking on this Read More button, going to our documentation and seeing how you should create or format that CSV file in the first place, adding all of your documents into it, and then uploading it to the site that way. Once you've created that CSV and click the Upload button, you can see that you need to map the column names to the different fields that apply to documents. If you've created the CSV file really well, then this step doesn't require any additional editing. But if the columns don't match what's here, you might need to choose a different one. Then you can click on Run the Importer, and that will upload and add all of the documents via CSV, which can be a huge time saver. The final way you can add documents to your site is with a front-end upload form. You can actually create this on the settings page. Click on Settings and scroll down to Front-End Document Submission. You can use this shortcode here, DLP Submission Form, and add it to any page, which will create a form for people to upload their documents directly to your site. You then have additional settings as well as admin control of anything that gets added to your site by someone else. While I'm here, I'll also mention the lead capture feature. If you're interested in getting the emails of people who are downloading your documents, you can enable lead capture, and update all of the settings here in order to create a form which people will fill out, submit their email or perhaps a phone number, and then they'll have access to the documents. Whenever you make changes on the settings page, it's a good idea to click on Save Changes before moving on. Whatever method you use to upload your documents, make sure to take some time to update the titles, categories, and tags of each one so that they'll be easier to find for yourself and for your users later on. Now, when you installed the plugin, it would have automatically added a document library page to your site. So click on Pages and search for Documents and find this one which says Document Library Page. In this case, it's just titled Document Library, and you can edit this to be anything you like Resource Library or PDF Library or something else. If we quickly click on Edit, we can see that the only thing on this page right now is a doc_library shortcode. If you add this shortcode to any page, then your document library can be displayed anywhere else. You can also add additional filtering plugins, like this website did by adding Facet WP for the filters on the left. So let's preview what our document library looks like already. If it doesn't look exactly how you want it to look right now, don't freak out. There are many design options that we are still going to go through, and you might want to reconsider which table columns you have chosen. For example, I'm not a huge fan of the image column, given that most of my documents don't actually have an associated feature image. So next time I'm editing the table, I'll remove this image column and I'll show you some other ways that we can update the design. This page would also look better with a little title, so let's just go back and add one now. All right, I think that's already looking a little bit better. Now, once your library is live, you can go back to the document settings page to make any adjustments. If you click on the Display tab, this is where we can update those table columns once again, or switch it to a grid layout. I'm going to remove the image column just because it's not really doing anything for us, and we'll just leave the rest how they are. But if you wanted to add a new one, obviously you just use this drop down here. I'm going to add the categories and click on Done and move that over into the middle of the table. Now there are a lot more settings here and it would take an eternity, honestly, to go through them all. So I trust that you'll be able to read them through and you can check our documentation if you have any further questions about any of these settings. Just to show you what it might look like, I'm also going to enable folders. And by default, I'm going to leave the folders in the closed position. Click on Save Changes, and we can immediately refresh this page and see the changes as they take effect. Now you can see the table's gone, but when I click on a category, you can see either subcategories or the table will show up once I click on it. This might be a very useful way to set up your library in certain situations, but for other people, it might be better to see the whole table in one place without having to go through each of the individual categories one by one. So once again, I'll remove the folders and click on Save, and then we'll visit the Design tab. If you leave the library on default, then the design will match the theme from your website as best as it can. This might be okay for many people, but there are also plenty of custom design options. With any of these designs, you can click to preview and see how this design might look, and then select it, and you can further tweak the colors of all the borders and shading with these options here. This can allow you to fine-tune the color scheme of the table in order to match your website perfectly. Given all of these different design options, you should be able to make the table look exactly how you need it to. I'll click on Save Changes, and we'll see how that looks now. Perfect, so we have a much cleaner looking table now as we scroll down. And if there is missing content, like there are no summaries for some of these documents, then it'll just show as blank, and that might give you an idea of which documents need editing. Many of these documents also have preview buttons, which allow you to preview what the document looks like. And of course, download buttons, as well as checkboxes to download as many documents as you want at one time. Remember, all of this can be configured in the settings. Don't forget to enable the search box so people can find things a lot faster by simply typing in what they're looking for. Back over here, I'm going to quickly show you that on the General tab, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll find version control. This setting is only available for those using the advanced plan of the plugin, but if you enable it, then if you're updating documents on a regular basis, then you have options to replace the file and keeping the original in the media library, or you can delete the old version from the media library whenever you update it. This can help keep things nice and clean, especially if you're updating the same document regularly. Now let's talk about one more thing that does also require the advanced plan of the plugin, and that would be access control. You can click on the access control tab here, and at first you might see that the entire library is visible to the public, but we can choose this option here to protect it. Now, under protection settings, there are 3 different types of protection we can offer. There's password protection, where you can enter a new unique password, and you can add more as well. There are user role protections, so you can search for different roles within your website, which will be able to access the documents once they're logged into their account. And you can even specify which users will have access if you want to have that kind of granular control. Now, if you've protected your documents, then a login form will automatically be shown to users when they try to access it. You can also manually add a login form using the document library login form block or the doc library login shortcode on any page. And here on the settings page, you can edit what that login form looks like in terms of the content. Finally, you can control which user roles are able to edit and manage documents in the back end of your site. Once you've set everything up the way you like, click on Save Changes. All right, so that's everything you need to get your resource library live. I have a more in-depth tutorial that you can check out on our channel by searching for Document Library Pro. But if you get stuck, you can also just contact our amazing support team who will be happy to help you. Remember to fill out the form for a 15% discount if you are a nonprofit or charity, or you can simply test out a free demo of the plugin by clicking on this link here. I also think you'll enjoy watching this video to get more inspiration about different ways you can set up your library. And of course, thanks for watching.